Be yourself and know that you're beautiful and that you can do whatever you set your mind to.
Welcome to the One Girl Revolution podcast. My name is Kate Bryan, and I am the host of the One Girl Revolution podcast and founder of our nonprofit, One Girl Revolution. One Girl Revolution is a multimedia platform, a podcast, and a nonprofit dedicated to highlighting the stories of inspiring women and girls who are changing the world through their lives. You can find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at One Girl Revo. That's the number one girl, REVO. We're on YouTube at One Girl Revolution, and you can find all of our podcast episodes, videos, social media links, and so much more on our website at onegirlrevolution.com. That's the number one girlrevolution.com. On this week's episode, I am so thrilled to welcome back my friend Molly Steffl to the One Girl Revolution podcast. Molly and her mom, Abby, were featured on episode 96. It is such a great episode, so go back and listen to it if you haven't heard it yet. But Molly is such an incredible 12-year-old, and she's doing so much to make the world a better place that I had to have her back on. This time, Molly gets the limelight, and I'm so excited to share her story, her wisdom, and her life with you. Molly was born with a cleft lip and palate and was also born with a gene for alopecia. The stress from Molly being bullied as a kid ended up activating that gene for alopecia, which led to Molly losing all of her hair as a kid. Molly continued to be made fun of and bullied in school, but one day her mom went to school to talk to all the third grade classes about alopecia, and a suddenly moment happened, a lightning moment. One of the kids mentioned that Molly was like Kevin Bull from American Ninja Warrior. That moment changed Molly's world, knowing that there were other people out there like her. And they were on TV. That moment led to Abby researching American Ninja Warrior and applying to be on the show. And that has led to 4 years of the Steffel family being a part of American Ninja Warrior, including Molly competing last year in American Ninja Warrior Juniors, and her mom, Abby, is back on this coming season. I can't wait to cheer Abby on. Molly joins the One Girl Revolution podcast to share her wisdom and her inspiring life story. She talks about how she didn't become a victim to the bullying, but in fact became the heroine of her own story. She shares how she's empowering others through sharing her story, her advocacy, and her work with her incredible organization, Carve Out Courage, and so much more. You don't want to miss this episode, so without further ado, here's Molly. Molly, welcome back to the One Girl Revolution podcast.
Thank you. It's good to be here again.
I am so excited to have you back. There's so much that I want to talk to you about. Obviously, I want to give people that haven't heard your story, I want to give them a little bit of a background about you and all the great work that you're doing and your experience with American Ninja Warrior. I mean, there's so many things that we can talk about. If people want to listen to your other episode with your mom, it's episode 96, and I will be sure to post it in the show notes so people can easily find it. But this episode, I get to spend time just with you. So the spotlight is on you, and I'm really excited to have you here. Before we get into your story, Molly, I'd love to hear from you. Who is a One Girl Revolution in your life? Who's a woman or girl that's inspired you?
Ooh, I have a lot of people. Actually, some of them were already on your show. Autumn Spence and Raylan. They seem like really powerful women. And also someone named Selena White. She's been through a lot, and I just think it's so cool that I get to know these women and hear their experiences.
Well, and you are such an inspiring woman. I love hearing everything about your story, and so I want to share your story with our audience. I know you've been on before and you've been able to share it, but just for people that haven't heard your story before, I'd love to rewind and talk a little bit about your life. Can you share a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and just a little bit about your life?
I'm Molly Steffl. I'm 12 years old from Stillwater, Minnesota. And when I was born, I had something called a cleft lip and palate. And when I first started going to school, people noticed that I was different. And they thought that I was weird, and some even thought it was disgusting. So they would make fun of me and call me mean names. And that's kind of the segue into alopecia, where the bullying activated one of my genes that has alopecia, and it kind of made it flare up. And universalis is where you have your entire head gone, but like your eyelashes, eyebrows are still there. But right now, wait, universalis is what I have right now. Totalis is what I just told you. Totalis, yeah. What? Sorry, I'm mixing everything up.
That's okay.
Universalis is where you don't have any hair on your body, and that's kind of what I have now, and that's kind of a brief rundown of kind of my story.
Your story resonated with me so much, Molly, and I know it's resonated with so many other people because I shared with you before when I was little, I had terrible eczema all over my skin, and I used to itch my hair out when I was in school and was bullied in the same way. And so I stopped talking in class, like in first and second grade. I wouldn't raise my hand in school because I didn't want to draw attention to myself. I just wanted to be invisible. And that experience has led me to doing what I'm doing now with One Girl Revolution. I want to create a space for women and girls' voices to be heard. You know, we're stronger together, we stand together, and we're stronger when we do stand together. And so I really resonated with your story, or your story resonated with me, because I know what that feels like and what you went through. But like my story that led me to One Girl Revolution, your own story and your own journey, you ended up finding the courage to stand up. Can you share a little bit about, I remember you telling me that you went into school and did a presentation about alopecia. Is that right?
Yes, so it's actually called a Molly Talk. It's where I go into schools or even workplaces. A couple of years ago, I went to my dad's work office, and I just talk about my story and my outlook on bullying and things that I believe need to be solved that are kind of like that. Um, So basically, I just go to school, share my story, and I let people ask questions so that I can further their knowledge about alopecia, cleft lip, and palate.
Yeah, well, you've opened so many people's eyes up, and I think you've given so many people courage, even if they don't have alopecia, or even if whatever their thing is, you know, we all have something that makes us different, or, you know, we all look different. And I remember being a little kid and I had tons of freckles, and some kids thought that was silly looking or made fun of it, or, you know, we have curly hair, short hair, or no hair, all the things, and everybody is different. And so your story is so important because you're empowering other people. Molly, I want to know from you, when you were going through all the difficulties as a kid, how did you not become a victim? How did you not, I think in this day and age, people all go through difficult chapters, and we see people that their life ends up being ruled by the bad things that happen, and they kind of feel like a victim, and, you know, poor me, woe is me, everybody's mean to me. But you didn't do that. You became the victor. You found victory in your own story. What was it that made you choose that?
I have always been surrounded by happy things. I grew up in a very happy household and still am. So I kind of think that that helped me by not really experiencing the bad things because, you are at your house the majority of the time, right? But also, I would see these powerful women and I would look up to them. And I thought, wow, maybe someday I could be like them or I could be as good as them. And they really inspired me to push on. And I just have the most amazing friend group in the world. And they've just really helped me through all the hardships that I've had.
Yeah, well, you have such an incredible group of people that you're surrounded by. Your mom, obviously, is such an amazing One Girl Revolution. And then, like you mentioned, Autumn and Raylan. And there's so many amazing people that are in your circle. And I'm so grateful that I've gotten to know some of them, some of your support system, and some of your posse, I guess. So another big turning point in your life was you got connected to the Children's Alopecia Project, and that really changed your life. Can you talk about how you and your family ended up finding out about the Children's Alopecia Project and that experience of getting connected to them?
So actually during one of my Molly talks, my first Molly talk, a kid in my class raised his hand and said, "Hey, you're like Kevin Bull." And that was one of the turning points, like you said. And so my mom thought about that and she went home and she looked up Kevin Bull, found out who he was, and while looking up Kevin Bull, Children's Alopecia Project also came up. And so she looked into that and found Children's Alopecia Project. And I just think it's such a blessing because without Children's Alopecia Project, maybe I would still kind of feel like I'm in the dark and that there aren't people like me as much. And also without that boy who raised his hand and said that I was like Kevin Bull, maybe I wouldn't be as confident and happy with myself. So I think that that was a really good and powerful moment. Um, Children's Alopecia Project has changed my life in so many ways because not only have I met so many nice and amazing friends there, but also it's just a great community. It's kind of like One Girl Revolution. Um, and everyone's just being themselves and it's so uplifting and they try to make it as fun as possible and as accommodating to everyone as they can be. So I think it's great.
I think it's great too. And it makes us feel not so alone, right? We have to have a community, we have to have support. And so people that have gone through, similar things to us or had similar struggles, it really empowers us, right? To be the person that we were created to be and makes you not feel like you're so alone. Because I imagine when you were younger and you were the only kid in school with a cleft lip and palate and the only kid with alopecia maybe in your class, when you end up finding out that there are more people that are like you, it sort of normalizes our own experience and makes us feel like we are a part of something. We're not alone.
It's kind of a shock when you actually figure out that there's maybe multiple or quite a few people that actually have the same thing as you because I recently figured out a lot more people that have alopecia just in this year. Like, I know teachers, family members that have alopecia, I know friends that have alopecia, and it's kind of shocking because you look back and you see that time where you thought that you were the only one. But now it's really empowering and you know that you're for sure not alone and that there's a great community and maybe that you can help other people come out to the world and say, I'm strong, I'm beautiful and brave, and I can do this.
Have you subscribed to the One Girl Revolution podcast? We have new episodes coming out every week and you don't want to miss them. Subscribe to the One Girl Revolution podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, or wherever you're listening right now. Molly, you are such an inspiration and you have found the courage to stand up and be a spokesperson really for so many people in this world, obviously to speak up about your own experience with alopecia. But one of the big things that you and your family have participated in that has given you a national and international spotlight is American Ninja Warrior. Talk to me about how you and your family got involved in American Ninja Warrior for the first time.
So it's kind of going back to the boy who raised his hand and said I was like Kevin Bull. We actually recently, before that, saw Kevin Bull on American Ninja Warrior. So my mom was like, hey, he's inspiring to people who have alopecia. And maybe I could help Molly kind of get out of the woods by showing her story and having people kind of recognize it more so that she will feel less sad. So my mom applied for American Ninja Warrior and actually got in. And then Kevin Bull found out about me with Children's Alopecia Project. So I went on with him and it just keeps going on and on and on. But it's incredible how it could happen so quickly, right? And how American Ninja Warrior has changed my life so much for the better. And American Ninja Warrior is also a great community.
Yeah.
So they're always uplifting no matter what. And I just think it's great to have people surround you like that.
Yeah. And so many of the people that watch too, I'm sure that you've heard from so many people that are excited about your story, excited about your mom, your family. I'm sure that your mom's story, as a mother, as your mother, has given so many other moms courage to stand up for their kids and encourage their kids and help them find courage to be the person that they were created to be. But you've been involved in American Ninja Warrior for the past 4 years, right?
Yeah,
So it's been
it's been a
so
long
cool that
haul.
you guys have gotten to go on numerous times. Your mom's been on numerous times. You've been on. And then this past year, I loved watching you on American Ninja Warrior Juniors. Talk to me about that experience. What was that like?
That was very crazy. That was something that I never thought that I would do. Kind of like my mom. We started watching American Ninja Warrior. My mom's like, wow, that seems really hard. And now here she is on the course. And it's kind of how I was. Even after I started doing American Ninja Warrior, just training, that I thought, wow, that would be so hard. I can't believe that these people can do it. But when I actually got there, it just hit me. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm on American Ninja Warrior Junior. This is crazy. But everybody there is so nice. And I was so lucky to have multiple of my friends there with me. And actually, one of my close friends, they're in my age group. So they kind of helped me through that. It was really cool. All the big lights and the stage and the interviewers. It was really cool. I don't know how to describe it other than it was amazing. And it was like a once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah, well, I loved what I was wearing my Carve Out Courage, which we're going to talk about Carve Out Courage too. I was wearing my Carve Out Courage shirt the day you were on, and just freaked out cheering you on. And one of the coolest things was, so your mom's gone out numerous times, and you're going out this time, and you hit the buzzer. You were the first in your family to hit the buzzer, right?
Yeah.
What was that moment like? I was like screaming and jumping up and down, Molly. I was so excited for you.
That was really cool because my first run and in testing, I never actually got it up the warped wall. So the first time that I got up the warped wall, I was so happy. And that was actually the time that I won that race. It was just a moment of joy and excitement. And at that moment, I felt like I was on top of the world. But also in my mind, I was like, gotta do the Steffel shuffle. Let's just say my dad's side of the family aren't the best dancers ever. So they made up a little boogie, I guess. And it's something that my dad does instead of actually dancing. He did it at my parents, at his and my mom's wedding, apparently, too. So that I find that quite funny. So one day, my dad just brought it up out of the blue because American Ninja Warrior wanted my mom to do something at the start stage, and when she didn't, but when she would hit the buzzer. So my dad's like, hey, maybe you could do the Steffel shuffle. Just as a joke. But my mom actually took that seriously. So we went on to do that. And my mom desperately wanted me to do it too. So I just said, hey, you know what? It's funny, maybe embarrassing, but I'll just do it.
Well, I love it. And it makes everybody smile whenever you guys do the Steffel shuffle.
Yeah,
Steffel shuffle.
I've actually had people at school ask me to teach them.
So you've been able to, through your appearances on American Ninja Warrior and your mom's experiences, I know that your mom's going to be on again, which is so exciting. And you guys are going to have more opportunities to do media and interviews because anybody who's seen the show, you're able to do a lot of interviews. They interview the family, different people that are around whoever the contestant is. And throughout your appearances, you've been able to raise awareness about alopecia. You've empowered other kids who may look different. And the reality is we all look different, right? Because we're as unique as our fingerprints. And, but you've really empowered other kids and you've instilled courage through your example and through your own courage to stand up. So That leads me to, we have to talk about your amazing organization, Carve Out Courage. What is Carve Out Courage for those that don't know about this organization?
Carve Out Courage is a nonprofit organization that fosters resilience in youth, kids K through 12. And we do events and we have something called a Carve Out Courage Award. Well, you can apply and we will send you an award, and you will have a page on our website saying, hey, this is your story and this is why you're on. The Carve Out Courage events are honestly probably one of my favorite things, because we get a group of kids together and we just have a really fun time. And it's kids with alopecia, cleft lip and palate, or really just any kind of difference that set them apart. And we just talk, have a good time. I introduce myself, and kids get to share their own stories. And I find that very inspiring, because sometimes these kids it's like the first time that they talk about it. And our most recent Carve Out Courage event, there was a girl who always wore her wig everywhere. And it was a photography event, so my mom would take pictures. And that girl actually took her wig off for like the first time in public ever, just so that my mom could take a picture of her. I felt like that was incredibly powerful. And it just shows a little can go a long way. And that's why we have Carve Out Courage. And that's why we are trying to make it thrive, because, it fosters resilience in youth, like I said. And it's just a great community. We want to make a healthy community and spread awareness of things that maybe people didn't know, kind of like One Girl Revolution, and share stories about amazing people.
Yeah, well, I love everything that you're doing, and there's so much synergy between Carve Out Courage and One Girl Revolution. And you're just creating this space for people to be authentically themselves. You're giving them permission to be authentically themselves, and that's what we're all about here at One Girl Revolution, as you know. How did Carve Out Courage start? I remember you and your mom shared a little bit of the story, but I remember you guys sitting around your like dining room table or something, and your mom talking about the work that you wanted to do.
So it actually kind of started when, so I went to PBR, Professional Bull Riding, and they invited me in at the Target Center.
Wait, you went to professional bull riding?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, I didn't do it.
Oh.
I was just there.
I was like, Molly, I didn't know that you were a bull rider. I knew you rode horses.
Yeah, maybe I'll stick to the Bronx.
Okay, so you went to an event. Okay, got it. You were watching.
I was told that they would like me to perform a speech, before the guys went out to go ride bulls, kind of like a little pep talk, get them ready. And my mom's like, Molly, you don't have like a phrase that you say. And it was like, wow, yeah, I should kind of think of that. So I don't know why. This is just kind of my thinking spot. I went under my dining room table and I was like, what's a good phrase? And I don't know why carving pumpkins popped into my head. I was like, Carve Out Courage. So that's kind of where it started. I said Carve Out Courage in my speech, and it just kind of went on from there. And later my parents were like, Molly, this phrase is huge. And that's when the realization kicked in. I was like, wow, maybe we should make this something a little bit more. So my parents decided to take it to the next step and make it a nonprofit and a website. And we had this goal for Carve Out Courage, to make a community where everyone could be themselves. And thankfully that has worked. And we're so excited for what the future holds with Carve Out Courage.
Yeah, and it's just so cool to see it continue to grow and evolve. I mean, even since I had you and your mom on the podcast, it's been so cool to continue to watch the work that you're doing and see the opportunities where you just like step into the limelight with Carve Out Courage. You've been able to promote your work through American Ninja Warrior and other things that you've been involved in. And so I can't wait to see where Carve Out Courage goes from here and what you guys end up doing. And I'm going to encourage everybody who's listening to get involved in the work that you're doing. I want to ask you, Molly, you do these Molly's talks and you talk to kids all across the country. You go to schools, events. What's the most important thing that you want to get across to kids? Like when if we're thinking about other kids that might be listening to this, what is the biggest message that you want to get across to other kids?
Be yourself. Don't hide, because that will send you in a downward spiral. And also, you're beautiful no matter who you are, what you have, and what you are doing. And you can stick up for yourself because you have a beautiful voice. And take that bull by the horns, kind of like we were talking about. And just live your life to the fullest, because you're beautiful and you can do whatever you want. Pretty much. Well, not exactly whatever you want, but
within reason. I always
yes.
tell people that if in my dream of dream worlds, I would be at the Grammys and be singing on the stage. That's obviously has not happened and most likely will not happen, but
sure
we can hope and dream. I don't know, Molly. A lot of things that I never thought would happen have happened. And same with you. It's like we can't control what is going to happen in our lives. And so we have to be open. But yeah, I just love everything about your message and the embodiment of everything that you stand for. Molly, for people that are listening, are there a couple of stories of people that have been helped by Carve Out Courage, or maybe people that saw you on American Ninja Warrior that reached out to you that were just inspired, people that have been touched by your work and by your life?
Yeah. The girl that I was telling you before, I thought that was really powerful that she took off her wig, and she actually inspired me. And I really take that and think about what she did. And I want to make people feel like that they can do that if they have alopecia or wear a wig. Evan White, his dad sadly passed away when he was, I'm pretty sure, 12. Maybe younger. And Carve Out Courage, he's actually our ninja friend. We met him during American Ninja Warrior when my mom was training to get on the show, her first season. And we gave him our very first Carve Out Courage award. And that kind of helped. But also there's so many people that have sent me so many kind messages. And there was actually a time period where people would send me stuff. And there was this one very kind woman who sent me a book that says, "How much is a little girl worth?" And I thought that was very beautiful. And I recommend that book to all the girls and women around the world, because I think it's also so cute. And I actually read it out loud to people, I read it on social media. So it was to people across the world. And we've just had so many kind messages from people. And it really empowers me and makes me feel great to know that my message is getting across and that I'm helping other people.
That book, How Much is a Little Girl Worth? I actually had the author of that book on this podcast, which is really cool. So Rachel Denhollander, because she's done so much to empower women and girls' voices and speaking up. So that's really cool that you mentioned that. Molly, I'm always so interested in what the driving force is behind every woman and behind every girl. What is the thing that really drives them and moves them? And you obviously have a really powerful, inspiring story of things you've been through, struggles you've been through, resilience, strength, empowerment, all these different words, all these different words, synonyms that we could use to talk about the strength and power of women. But if you could get to the very root of why you do, what drives you, what would that be?
Ooh, that's hard. Probably to make people happy and to make them feel like that they can be themselves. Because I had a long period of time where I was scared and hiding, and I just really want people to be themselves. So I think that that's probably the root and the why I've been driven to do this, because I wanted to inspire people and I've wanted to make people feel like that they can do whatever they put their mind to, and that they can go out to the community and be themselves.
Donate to One Girl Revolution's nonprofit organization to help us continue our work, highlighting inspiring women and girls that are changing the world through their lives, promoting their work and their organizations, and building a powerful and positive force out in the world dedicated to empowering women, their voices, and their stories. Donate at onegirlrevolution.com/donate. That's the number onegirlrevolution.com/donate. Yeah, well, you are inspiring so many people. You inspire me, and I just love following everything that you're doing and everything you have coming up. What's next for you, and what's next for Carve Out Courage? What are some things that you're working on? Obviously, your mom's going to be on American Ninja Warrior, so
Yeah.
and that's public on social media, so I'm not spoiling anything here. So people can obviously cheer on your mama, Abby, and we will be cheering her on. But what's next for you in Carve Out Courage?
So in April, we're actually doing a Carve Out Courage event at the barn that I ride at. So we're going to have like 8 kids, and they're going to be there just working through obstacle courses with horses. And I think it's really important that we're doing this with horses because horses are incredible animals. They can feel your emotions, and they're really good therapy animals, like dogs. And some people, some people haven't even seen horses before. So I think that's really cool that these kids get to come out and just have a great time and enjoy what I like to do, because it makes me feel great just riding a horse, right? And it's just kind of a getaway for me. And I hope that it will be very fun for the kids that will be there. So I'm really excited for that. And like you said, my mom's going to be on American Ninja Warrior. So I'm really excited for that too.
Well, we're going to be cheering you guys on and cheering you on because I'm sure that they'll interview you at some stage. So I'm really, really excited for you guys, and hoping that your mom, fingers crossed, that she can hit the buzzer. It'd be great if she just won the whole thing. It'd be awesome. So that's what we're going to be rooting for her. So Molly, what can people do to support your mission, to support your work with Carve Out Courage? Obviously, they can reach out to you if they want to get a t-shirt and support Carve Out Courage, but what are some ways that people can get involved?
Actually, if you go to carveoutcourage.org, there will be a page where you can enter a name and a story for a Carve Out Courage Award. And that kind of gets it out there. And follow our social media and tell other people. And also be authentic, be yourself, because the more that you're yourself, the more that other people will feel comfortable, and the more that your energy resonates through other people. And maybe you can even inspire a community just by yourself, so that would even help. And maybe we won't even hear about it, but it will help other people be themselves, and that's what we want. So those are a couple ways that you could help Carve Out Courage.
Yeah, and people can follow you on social media. I will post all of your social media links. I always tell people that's a free way that you can support any of these amazing organizations. People can, of course, donate. And I love what you said there, how people can do little things in their daily lives, right? Like we don't have to join an organization. We don't have to start an organization, but sometimes just little things that we do in our own communities, for our own families, can carve out courage. What would you say to people, no matter where they are, that they're listening? How can they encourage other people, other kids, to carve out courage in their lives?
Well, first of all, be yourself. because the more that you're confident, the more that other people will pick up on that and also become confident. And also kind of help them get out of their shell. Go do some fun activities, go outside, just have a good time. I know I'm saying that a lot, but it's vital because you can't be sad and go out of the world to be the best you ever, right? You have to be happy to do that. So be happy and just do whatever you can to kind of help that person and push them out of that stage. Do something that they like to do. Get them something that they like maybe. Like art and crafts. That's a big thing. And kind of just go places with them. And I think that that's a vital thing because that will get them more out there. And so I think that that helps a lot because that kind of helped with me. It may be different for other people, but just kind of give them a little nudge and say, hey, maybe you could try this, maybe you could try this. And I think that that helps.
Yeah, finding an outlet. And that's what I love so much about following you and your family is you found this outlet through CrossFit, through American Ninja Warrior, through different things, just to have fun. And life can feel so difficult and dark sometimes, especially in the world that we live in. And especially with social media, we can feel so isolated. Sometimes you just need to shut down all the screens and just go and do something fun that kind of pulls you out of your slump, and you can do something fun. So I love following you guys, and I encourage everybody to follow you and your mom, and I can't wait to see where you go from here. But Molly, I want to end on this question that I always end on. If you could leave women and girls around the world with one message, what would it be?
Be yourself. And know that you're beautiful and that you can do whatever you set your mind to. And that, you could start your own business or you could do something and help other people. Because the more that you do to help other people, the more that the community will flourish and be happy. And that will also make you happy. So, just be yourself and help other people.
Molly, you are such a gift to this world. I'm so grateful to know you and love you. And I'm so excited to follow you and your family and to follow Carve Out Courage and see where it goes from here. But thank you so much for being on the podcast. And thank you for all the great work that you do.
Thank you too.
Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at One Girl Revo. That's the number one girl REVO. And you can find more information on One Girl Revolution at onegirlrevolution.com. That's the number one girlrevolution.com.